We're welcoming to the show for the very first time. Here's the ticker symbol first because I want you to look it up on your favorite trading platform. It's GOGY. They're currently traded on the OTC. That's GOGY for Golden Grail Beverages Corp. We're lucky enough to be joined today by their CEO. You may have seen the press release if you're a shareholder of this company that the company has added a new CEO. The interim tag has also been dropped, so we're welcoming the CEO, Scott Lomu. Scott, how are you doing today, sir?
Fantastic. I appreciate you having me on today.
Absolutely. Congratulations. We'll learn a little bit more about you next in my next question, but you're on the show for the very first time. We'd like to introduce you to our audience. Of course, your investors already know about your company, but if you would tell us about the business model and the markets that you operate in currently.
No problem. So we build our beverage portfolio through the acquisition of brands. And typically we look for brands that already have a proven sales history, a loyal customer base, a retail presence, and a strong value proposition in emerging beverage categories. The beverage industry is very diverse, as I'm sure you know. There's quite a bit of different brands, energy drinks, water, sparkling. I mean, we're right now in energy drinks, flavored water, sparkling water, a few other categories there. But we are trying to reach as many demographics as possible and check all those lifestyle categories as we build this dynamic portfolio. And then once we've acquired these brands, we use operational technology to improve the economics and the performance of these brands while advancing and expanding the marketing and the distribution. We're also leaning heavy into the environmental side of it by trying to be a little bit more sustainable. We've seen that the market is demanding it now. About 69% of all people said that they would make a decision on buying an energy drink or any sort of drink, more so because if they had a sustainability plan. That's a difference in 2 years. So it's great. We're expanding our brands and trying to be good stewards of the earth as we do so.
Yeah, so go to their website, viewers and listeners, Golden Grail Beverages. Of course, again, I give you the ticker symbol because that's all you ever really need, GOGY. But if you do want to get social with the company, it's at the bottom of all those press releases. Big news from the company right before we signed on with them. We love what we saw, going from 5 billion shares authorized to 500 million shares authorized. You can find that news as well. But Scott, as promised, my next question is more about you. What brought you here to Golden Grail? What's your pedigree?
So I've spent the last several years building a company actually in the mining industry. I spent several years in Africa gold mining. And after seeing all the problems that existed in the mining world, not just with supply chain and other issues, but actual environmental destruction and a lot of the crazy things that are happening out there, we were able to create better efficiencies in provenance, meaning where did all of these things come from? Where's the gold and the cobalt and the platinum and all these things? Where does it originate? Because consumers are demanding to know the origin of where all these mining elements are coming from. So I've spent using blockchain technology, we have been able to solve a lot of the problems, or at least work towards solving a lot of the problems in the mining world. So I've spent the last 4 years as the founder and CEO of Element United. And we have a big sustainability push there as well, trying to make the tracking and the tracing of all of these elements more sustainable. And just the mining operation business itself is really, it's a dirty business. And so we've been able to use technology to create efficiencies and to hopefully make some real world impact in the mining industry. So that's where I've been the last 5 years. But I've been in that since I've been in the mining and blockchain since about 2010. So it's been quite a while, but again, emerging technology, which is doing a lot of good in the world.
Well, and you
So
mentioned this, so I'm going to dovetail it into what you're talking about with Golden Grail Beverages as well, and that push towards sustainability and finding that market niche by really hitting all of those lifestyle boxes and checking them. And if you go, I mean, we're so used to seeing the business model within the energy sports drink of the extreme sports. You've got that, but you're also going for the younger audience as well. You're also going for the health conscious audience, but you're also going for that audience that wants to be a part of a product that has a sustainability push, a small environmental footprint, and I can see where your pedigree has brought you here today. So let's talk a little bit about the company then so far here in 2024. I know you just came on. We can see that from the newswire, but obviously you had to know about this company. Some of the major highlights of this year so far, and then we'll get into some of the goals for the company.
Sure. Really, I mean, I can even go back a couple of years with the acquisition of Spider. That goes back to about 2021. And then, if when you look at the trends that are in the beverage business, they're always changing. And so when we look at what the brands that we've acquired up to this point, I think that reflects what the market's been demanding. And so for last year, we really focused on distribution, adding about 20 different distribution channels. But this year, we're just adding more brands to our sales channels. And of course, on the sustainability kick, got rid of all of our plastics. Everything is in the can. And I think for people, it takes a while to drink water out of a can. But once you do it and you realize that it tastes just as great, but it's really having a great impact. So we're able to move one of our brands, which is KOZ Water, into the 16-ounce. We have a run coming up of 155,000 cans of water, and I think it's been the water in a can. It's been widely accepted. I think Liquid Death and some of these other brands have proven that it can be done, and we're doing it. And I think people appreciate it. So no plastics in all of 2024. And we're going to be moving into some commodities as well. Again, my background in the gold and precious metal space, we're going to be acquiring, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later down the road. But I think a couple of announcements have already gone out talking about that. But we're really going to be expanding beyond just beverages. So the end of 2024 is going to be fantastic. Going into 2025, it's going to be a lot of fun moves with this company.
Yeah, and we both brought up Liquid Death because you're right. There's a stumbling block for some people because we just get used to things here in America and around the world, and we're used to our plastic bottles. But we know what a gross impact those have on the environment and the ocean, not primarily, but specifically. There's been great advertisement and a push so that we can understand exactly where this plastic ends up. And so, like you mentioned with Liquid Death, they have overcome that, and that's a nice one to follow in their footsteps of. And here at Small Cap Voice, listeners and viewers, you already know this of our other clients. We do so much more than these videos. We also handle the social media. We also handle the shareholder questions. And Scott, we've actually specifically had some questions that I'm not going to hit you with right now, but I want the viewers, I want the potential shareholders to understand how this process works. You're going to send us the questions. We're going to take it to management. We're going to release it on a platform so that it's not deemed selective dissemination, which means social media is fair game. So we can answer you there. We probably will be doing a quarterly Q&A with the company where we compile a lot of your questions. We go through them. We get rid of the ones that are redundant, and we get it right in front of Scott or another team member so that we can get it straight from the company and you hear it, and it's not us just pontificating or guessing on what we might have the response for you. So again, that's another big push for your company is increase transparency, increase awareness with the shareholders. I commend you on that. So Scott, if you would, let's talk about some of those goals that the company may have here in 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, rounding out the end of 2024 and then into 25, it's going to be very exciting. There are some big changes coming to the company, but first, staying with our core competency, which is taking the brands that we already have in the beverage space and really expanding the marketing and growing and trying to get as much market share for each of those individual brands. We're really proud about what we've done in creating a beverage that in so many different demographics. But really moving forward in 2025, big changes coming. I can't talk too much about it. They're all exciting. We're not abandoning what we're doing. We're just making this company a little more diverse, and we have some very exciting things on the table for 2025.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you making time for us here today at smallcapvoice.com. You did mention trends in the beverage industry, and I kind of want to finish with sort of an overarching, and I know, and I've heard you, and I understand that there's a change in the wind for the company, but you're not leaving this beverage space, and you've got a lot of interested parties. You've actually got a lot of validation on social media for your product, which is exciting for us coming into this deal to know, okay, people like this product. That's outstanding. So speaking of the beverage industry specifically, not really, not the placement of Golden Grail, but as you see it, what do you see as the shifts or the winds of change that might be coming in the beverage industry?
I think right now the biggest trend is everybody wants something with health and wellness. They want their beverages to do more specifically for them. It's not just let me get a big rush of caffeine right now. It's more can I improve specific areas of my life? And the big one right now is health and wellness, whether it's CBD infused or people don't want certain things in their beverages, no sugar, no GMOs, nothing, no caffeine. And so really it's being nimble enough to meet the consumer's needs because they're changing pretty frequently. And so, depending on which articles you read, you know, some of them change, but the overall arch in the beverage industry is really focused on health and wellness. What can my beverage do for me? Hydration, specific minerals, specific vitamins. And so that's what's coming. So it's important for us at Golden Grail to stay on top of that, to really see where the trends are going and to make sure that we either take existing products or acquire new ones that the customers are demanding.
Scott Lomu, new CEO, Golden Grail Beverages, ticker symbol GOGY. Thanks so much for your time today, Scott.
It was my pleasure. Thanks, Stuart.
All right, so everybody, be sure to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and of course, if you've got a comment for this company, leave it down below, or just email us directly by visiting us at smallcapvoice.com and hit that investor contact form. We look forward to interviewing Scott again here in the very near future. We're going to see what the company does. We're going to keep an eye on that news wire. Be sure to add them to your watch list, OTC GOGY. And thanks again, Scott. We'll see you guys all later. Bye-bye.